Let me ask you something simple but important. What if the solution to better blood flow was already in your kitchen? What if stronger vascular function came from two simple powders? Two household ingredients sitting quietly on your shelf. Nothing exotic, nothing expensive, just everyday powders with hidden potential. And when you mix them the right way, something powerful happens. The combination becomes stronger than either powder alone. Most men have never heard of this mixture. Most men don't know these ingredients were studied by scientists. Research shows they create measurable vascular improvements. Today, I want you to hear this clearly. This simple combination can make a real difference. I'm Dr. Ella. I'm a urologist who works with older men every day. I help men over 50 understand their changing bodies. I help them take back control of their health. When circulation slows down, life feels harder. When nitric oxide drops, blood flow becomes inconsistent. When blood vessels stop responding, confidence fades. These changes affect intimacy, energy, and stamina. But here's what most men never learn. Your body isn't failing you. Your chemistry is simply shifting with age. When you support that chemistry, things improve again. Your body becomes stronger, warmer, and more alive. In this video, I'll explain the two powders. I'll show you how they work together. I'll reveal why this mixture creates a vascular boost, and I'll show you how to use it safely at home. You won't spend more than a few dollars. The most important detail is at the end. Don't skip ahead or you'll miss the key step. Once you understand this combination, things change. You'll understand how it boosts nitric oxide. You'll see how it supports mitochondrial energy production. You'll learn how it improves blood viscosity. You'll learn how it protects endothelial function. This is why I recommend it to older men. It's natural, reliable, and simple to use. It helps men feel more responsive and confident. It helps them feel physically ready when it matters. All right, let's begin the breakdown. Let's start with the first powder, baking soda. Let's explore why it matters more than you think. Let's talk about the first powder in this combination, baking soda. Most men think of it as something you put in the fridge or use for cleaning, but inside your body, it does something far more important, something directly connected to your circulation and your intimate performance. Baking soda or sodium bicarbonate works as a powerful pH buffer. And that matters because as you get older, your body becomes more acidic than it used to be. Not dangerously acidic, but just enough to interfere with one critical system, nitric oxide production. Your blood vessels are incredibly sensitive to pH changes. When acidity rises, even a little, your endothelial cells struggle to produce nitric oxide, the molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and open. And when nitric oxide is low, blood flow slows down, responses become weaker, stamina drops faster, and the body you used to rely on just doesn't respond the same way. Now, think about this. During any physical exertion, including intimacy, your muscles create more acid, lactate, hydrogen ions, metabolic waste. All of these lower your pH even further. This is one of the reasons men feel fatigued or sluggish during activity, even if their mind is fully ready. That's where baking soda comes in. When you consume it, it buffers rising acidity and gives your blood vessels a more alkaline environment. The exact environment they need to produce nitric oxide efficiently. And when nitric oxide rises, blood vessels open, blood flow increases, warmth returns, and responsiveness improves. Many studies show that sodium bicarbonate boosts physical performance, slows fatigue, and increases vascular capacity, all of which translate directly to better consistency and endurance in intimate moments. But here's a key point I want you to hear. Baking soda alone isn't enough. Yes, it helps. Yes, it supports pH balance, but there's a limit to how far it can take you on its own. And that is why the second powder, the one almost no one uses, is so important. Because when you combine baking soda with the right partner, your vascular system gets a level of support that simply isn't possible with baking soda alone. And that brings us to the next piece of the puzzle. Why aging men struggle with pH, nitric oxide, and blood vessel responsiveness in the first place. As men get older, the chemistry inside the body shifts in ways that most people never talk about. Not in a dramatic overnight kind of way, but slowly, quietly, year after year. And these small shifts eventually add up to big changes in how your blood vessels work, especially during moments when you need strong, reliable circulation. One of the biggest changes is how your body handles acidity. When you were younger, your body had no trouble clearing acid quickly. Your cells were efficient. Your metabolism was fast. Your blood vessels were responsive and elastic. But after 50, your buffering systems weaken, your tissues recover more slowly, and the endothelial cells lining your blood vessels produce less nitric oxide than they once did, not because you're unhealthy, but because biology naturally slows down. Now add in real-life factors: stress, poor sleep, medications, higher blood pressure, lower testosterone, and reduced activity levels. All of these increase acidity and inflammation inside the vascular system. When your body becomes even slightly more acidic, nitric oxide levels drop, your blood vessels don't fully relax, and the smooth muscle in the vessel walls becomes less responsive to arousal signals. This is why so many older men tell me, Dr. Ross, the desire is still there, but the response isn't. And I always remind them, it's not lack of desire, it's vascular chemistry that needs support during intimate activity. Your body needs to rapidly increase blood flow. It needs to keep that blood flow stable, and it needs the energy and stamina to sustain physical movement without crashing halfway through. But if acidity builds up faster than your body can buffer it, fatigue sets in early, your response weakens, and the moment becomes harder to maintain. This is exactly why baking soda helps. It buffers that acidity. But remember, buffering is only one half of the story, because the real transformation happens when you support nitric oxide production, reduce oxidative stress, improve red blood cell flexibility, and increase energy inside the smooth muscle cells that control blood vessel dilation. And that level of support only happens when you add the second powder, the one that turns a simple mixture into a real vascular enhancer. So let's talk about that second ingredient and why it changes everything. Now, let us talk about the second powder, the one that turns baking soda from helpful into something genuinely powerful. And here's the part most men never expect. It's citric acid. Yes, the same tangy sour powder used in cooking and canning. But when you mix citric acid with baking soda, something remarkable happens. Something that directly improves blood flow, nitric oxide stability, and vascular performance in a way baking soda alone simply cannot. When these two powders meet water, they react instantly. You'll see bubbling. You'll hear fizzing. That's carbon dioxide being released. But the real magic isn't the fizz. It's a new compound created in the reaction, sodium citrate. Sodium citrate is not just a byproduct. It is the key to the synergy. And here's why. First, sodium citrate enhances nitric oxide in a different way than baking soda. While baking soda helps by lowering acidity, sodium citrate works by reducing oxidative stress around the endothelium, the delicate cells that actually produce nitric oxide. Less oxidative stress means more available nitric oxide. And more available nitric oxide means easier, smoother, stronger blood flow. Second, sodium citrate makes your blood flow more efficiently by improving the flexibility of red blood cells. When red blood cells bend and move more freely through tiny capillaries, oxygen delivery increases. Better oxygen means better tissue performance, better stamina, and better vascular response exactly where you need it. Third, sodium citrate feeds directly into your body's citric acid cycle, also known as the Krebs cycle, the primary engine that produces cellular energy. This matters because the smooth muscle inside your blood vessels needs ATP to relax and dilate fully. More ATP means stronger dilation, longer dilation, and a better chance of maintaining firmness when the moment matters. And finally, leftover bicarbonate, the part that doesn't react, continues to buffer acidity. This gives you the best of both worlds: pH support, nitric oxide support, and energy support. That's why the combination works so much better than either powder alone. Baking soda changes the environment. Citric acid transforms the chemistry. Sodium citrate amplifies the results. This is the moment where men usually say, "WH, has no one told me this before?" And honestly, because most people have no idea these everyday powders can create such a powerful vascular effect when used together. Now that you understand what this combination creates inside your body, let us dive deeper into how sodium citrate actually performs once it is absorbed, and why this vascular boost feels so different and so natural for older men. Now that you know how the combination turns into sodium citrate, let us break down what actually happens inside your body and why so many men feel a noticeable difference the very first time they use it. Because sodium citrate doesn't just help blood flow. It optimizes multiple systems at the same time, creating what I call a vascular boost that feels natural, warm, and responsive. The first major effect is on nitric oxide stability. Your body may still produce nitric oxide even as you age, but oxidative stress caused by inflammation, stress, and everyday wear destroys nitric oxide faster than your blood vessels can use it. Sodium citrate reduces that oxidative stress, allowing more nitric oxide to survive longer and work more effectively. That means your blood vessels can finally relax, open, and stay open. Next, sodium citrate changes how your blood flows. Your red blood cells become more flexible, smoother, softer, better, able to bend through the tiniest capillaries. When red blood cells move freely, oxygen delivery increases dramatically. And oxygen is a major driver of performance, stamina, and recovery. Better oxygen means better endurance, better muscle coordination, and a body that doesn't give out halfway through. Then, we have the energy effect. Sodium citrate feeds directly into the citric acid cycle, your cell's engine for producing ATP, the energy currency of life. The smooth muscle in your blood vessels relies on ATP to hold a dilation. More ATP means those vessels can open wider and stay open long enough for you to maintain firmness without fighting your own biology. There's also a subtle but powerful effect on nerve responsiveness. When acidity drops and oxygen rises, nerve signals fire more cleanly. This can translate to faster arousal, stronger sensation, and a more connected physical response. Not forced, not artificial, but smoother and more natural. Put all of this together and you get a vascular explosion, not in a dramatic or dangerous way, but in a functional way. Better nitric oxide, better blood flow, better energy inside the vessel walls, better oxygen to tissues, and better performance throughout the entire experience. And the reason it feels different from other methods is simple. Instead of forcing your body into a response, this combination creates the ideal environment for your natural response to happen on its own. Now, let us talk about timing. What happens in the first 60 minutes after you drink this mixture, and why timing is the key to unlocking the full benefits? Timing is everything with this combination. And if you've ever wondered why some men feel a noticeable boost while others don't, it almost always comes down to when they take it, not the ingredients themselves. Because once you drink this mixture, your body moves through several predictable stages, each contributing to stronger, smoother blood flow. In the first few minutes, the reaction between baking soda and citric acid continues inside your stomach. The remaining bicarbonate begins buffering acidity almost immediately. This is important because as your blood becomes slightly more alkaline, your endothelial cells, the cells that produce nitric oxide, become far more efficient. It's like flipping a biochemical switch that tells your blood vessels, you can relax now. You can open. About 15 to 25 minutes in, nitric oxide levels begin to rise. This doesn't feel dramatic. It feels subtle, maybe a warm sensation in your hands, feet, or chest. Some men describe it as a gentle awakening of circulation, a feeling that everything is flowing a bit easier. Around the 30 to 45 minute mark, the sodium citrate is fully absorbed. This is where the real synergy begins. Nitric oxide becomes more stable. Oxidative stress drops. Red blood cells start moving more freely, delivering oxygen to tissues that haven't felt fully energized in a long time. Smooth muscle cells inside the blood vessel walls start producing more ATP. In simple terms, your vascular system becomes more prepared, more primed, and more responsive. By 45 to 60 minutes, most men reach what I call the readiness window. The moment when all the mechanisms line up: better nitric oxide production, better endothelial stability, improved oxygen delivery, and higher cellular energy. This is the optimal time for intimacy because your body can increase blood flow quickly and maintain it without fatiguing too early. Between 60 and 90 minutes, the effects peak. This is where men often notice faster arousal, stronger firmness, and much easier maintenance. Nothing feels forced. Nothing feels artificial. It simply feels like your body is responding the way it used to naturally, confidently, and without struggle. And here's the part I want you to remember. Taking this mixture right before intimacy won't give you the same results. Your body needs that 45 to 60 minute window to adjust its pH, stabilize nitric oxide, and fuel the vascular system. Now that you understand the timing, let us talk about something equally important: the exact dosing and preparation that gives you the best results without discomfort. Now let's talk about the part most men get wrong, the actual formula. because if you mix too much, you'll feel bloated. If you mix too little, you won't feel the vascular lift. And if you mix the wrong ratio, you won't create enough sodium citrate to get the full effect. The sweet spot, the ratio that works best for most men, is 2 parts baking soda to 1 part citric acid. Simple, predictable, easy to remember. This ratio ensures that enough baking soda reacts to form sodium citrate while still leaving a little bit of bicarbonate left over to give you that important pH buffering effect. For a single serving, I recommend starting with 3 grams of baking soda and 0.5 to 1 gram of citric acid. These amounts are small, but trust me, they are more than enough to activate the reaction inside your body without overwhelming your stomach. Here's how to prepare it. Grab a glass with about 8 to 12 ounces of water. Add the powders and get ready because the mixture will fizz quickly. That fizzing is a good sign. It means the compounds are reacting properly and forming the sodium citrate you need. Let the mixture bubble for a moment. Then stir gently until it settles. You don't need to wait for the fizz to disappear completely, just long enough so it is comfortable to drink. The taste is slightly salty, slightly tart, and honestly much easier to drink than most men expect. If you want to make it smoother, you can add a splash of lemon juice or a small amount of fruit juice, but this is totally optional. Drink it on an empty stomach or at least 1 hour after eating. This helps your body absorb the compounds more efficiently and reduces the chance of bloating or gas. And as with anything new, start small. If you feel good, you can slowly increase toward the higher end of the dosing range over time. Most men tell me they can feel the shift within the first 30 to 45 minutes. That gentle warmth, that lighter energy, that sense of circulation turning back on, that's exactly what we want. But before you try it, there's something critical we need to talk about. Safety. Because while this combination is natural and generally safe, it's not for everyone. Before you try this mixture, I want to walk you through something essential safety. Because even though both powders are natural, inexpensive, and used every day in American kitchens, they still affect your chemistry. And I want you to use them in a way that supports your health, not complicates it. Let's start with the ingredient that deserves the most attention, baking soda. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, which means it contains sodium. A single 3 grams serving gives you roughly 100 to 120 milligrams of sodium. That's about half of the recommended daily limit for most adults. So, if you're on a low sodium diet, if you have poorly controlled high blood pressure, or if your doctor has specifically told you to watch your sodium intake, you need to proceed carefully and talk to your healthcare provider first. Most healthy men tolerate this amount without issues, but I don't want you to be surprised by that sodium number. It's better to be informed than to guess.